In an interrogation room, a detective referred to as Maxwell sits across from a man in a rabbit suit, a notorious serial killer known as the serial rabbit killer. The detective, clearly angry, demands to know about all his victims. The man in the suit is evasive, claiming he will only discuss the odd-numbered victims because the even ones weren't filmed. Despite her frustration, the detective plays along, starting with a murder from year 3, a college student. A flashback shows the student, a young woman, arguing with her professor about her grade. She accuses him of being a bad actor and having slept with her to get her to a better grade, telling him she's faked her orgasms. He retorts by insulting her acting skills. Suddenly she sees a figure in a bunny costume approaching and panics, but the professor dismisses her as crazy. The bunny then attacks and kills her with a bladed weapon. Back in the present, the killer shows no remorse, justifying the murder by saying the girl was banging her professor out of wedlock. The detective moves on to the next year when the killer's crimes started making headlines. A new flashback begins, this time showing a mother tucking in her child Kip on Easter. The boy asks if the Easter bunny is real, which upsets the mother. She then scolds her older daughter Jessica for being in a suggestive bunny costume, telling her to put it away. Jessica, seemingly possessed or under the influence, threatens her mother with a pair of knives. The mother, now terrified, tries to calm her daughter down, all while the younger boy Kip asks if Santa is real, further upsetting her. Suddenly the whole family is attacked and killed by the killer. The scene shifts to Detective Maxwell discussing the multiple homicide with a colleague. The victims' mother, father, son, and daughter were all brutally murdered on Easter. The only lead is a few pink fibers found on the father's neck. They realize this is the 4th Easter in a row a brutal killing has taken place, confirming their suspicion of a serial killer. The previous victims were a librarian, a couple at Lover's Lane, and a college student. The detective notes the escalation from single victims to an entire family. A uniformed officer interrupts, needing Maxwell to sign off on a case file, but she's busy with the killer. Her colleague signs instead and they return to the interrogation. The detective asks the killer about his childhood. The killer reveals he was in foster care and was a bunny who loved his foster mom a bit too much. He describes how he was beaten when he was bad. Another flashback begins, this time showing a young boy named Leo, presumably the killer, playing with a toy on what appears to be Easter. His foster mother, a deeply religious woman, scolds him, calling the toy blasphemous and declaring that he has the devil in him. She then beats him, claiming it's to save his soul from the pits of hell. This traumatic event seems to be the origin of the killer's motives. The interrogation is briefly interrupted by an associate who arrives, revealing more about the investigation. It's clear they have the killer, but his partner is frustrated that she isn't getting all the information she wants. She threatens him with a phone book to get him to talk, but her partner calms her down, offering her a deck of cards to play solitaire. He then tries a different tactic with the killer, acknowledging his bad childhood but insisting it doesn't justify murder. The interrogation continues with new details about other characters being introduced through flashbacks. A man named Sam owes money to a gangster. The gangster gives him a choice: pay him $8,000 in a month with interest, or $10,000 by the next day, threatening to kill him if he fails. Sam, unable to get the money, takes out an insurance policy on his own life, hoping to get his wife the money after he dies. Meanwhile, a rapper named Malls is told by his friend G that he needs to pay back a debt. G tells him to beat TJ and Goldie to a smuggling job for the Cocoa Cartel, which will pay off his debt. Malls reluctantly agrees despite being tired. Elsewhere, a man loses a poker game to Drake and Ice, two thugs. He bets his car, and when he loses they try to take it from him. He then pulls a gun and kills them. Later, the same man, Sparks, a smuggler, is coordinating a drug deal. His partner Mackie wants to go to Dallas for a rave, but Sparks insists on going to Shreveport. Mackie protests, but Sparks dismisses his concerns. Another flashback shows a couple at home. The woman Lacey and her partner are discussing a business venture. They talk about a permit problem and how they paid off city officials, which makes her partner mad. Decker, their colleague, explains that he paid $2,000 in bribes to avoid a $500 permit fee, revealing their incompetence. We see two rappers, Big Dog and Malls, preparing for the rave. They argue about their clothes and a verse in one of their songs, a comical scene that is interrupted by a fan. The fan asks for Big Dog's autograph but completely ignores Malls, which sends Malls into a rage. He pulls out a gun and threatens the fan. Detective Maxwell, who tells her colleague to get some rest as they'll start again tomorrow. The plot is a fragmented and confusing web of interconnected stories, revealing the backstories of the various victims and criminals, all loosely tied together by the serial killer's interrogation and the detective's investigation. Following his failed interrogation attempt, Detective Drew leaves the room exhausted and defeated. His colleague Drew tries to talk to him, but Drew is withdrawn, consumed by the case. Drew admits he's considering leaving the game, feeling the constant risk and the stress of looking over his shoulder. His colleague, horrified, warns him that people who try to leave the game in movies and real life always end up dead. This conversation is abruptly cut short when the killer, still in the bunny suit, emerges and kills Drew. The bunny then appears to follow a car driven by two drug smugglers, TJ and Goldie, who are on their way to a rave. They are initially distracted by Drew's murder, but they quickly realize the killer is still in the bunny suit. They are more concerned about the mess of blood and brains on their drugs and windshield than their dead colleague. They dismiss the bunny as a joke until it disappears and Goldie is killed. TJ alone gets away with the drugs and the car. The film then returns to the story of Drake and Ice, the two thugs who lost their money gambling. They are on their way to the same rave to make some money. They are talking about their plans when they spot the bunny and decide to roll him for money. Initially they are dismissive of the bunny, but they are soon terrified when it pulls out a bladed weapon and attacks them. They try to run away, but the bunny, seemingly invincible, kills them both. Back at the police station, Detective Maxwell receives a call about the murders. She is told that the fibers found at the crime scene are from a polyester and cotton suit, confirming the killer is in a bunny costume. The fibers are from two different suits, which leads her to believe there may be a copycat killer. This theory explains why the murders are now happening after Easter. The story shifts to Raphael and Leslie, the couple from the previous night. They are at the rave, but Raphael is on edge. He spots the bunny and is visibly shaken. Leslie tries to calm him down, but he is convinced they are in danger. They run into Sparks, who is talking to another man about the angels who he had just set up to be killed. It is later revealed that Sparks had also been at the poker game and had set up Drake and Ice to be killed as well. Meanwhile, Leslie's partner Thomas and another detective discuss the possibility of two killers. They decide to go find Drew, but Thomas gets distracted and ends up going back to his desk. At the rave, Raphael and Leslie are alone in a dark warehouse. Leslie confesses that she has been trying to get Raphael alone for 6 months, ever since she got out of county jail. She reassures him that she is still the same person she was before. They are in the middle of a romantic moment when they spot the bunny, who is standing over them. Raphael is killed and Leslie flees screaming for help. She runs into a police officer and tries to explain what happened, but the officer is confused and dismisses her claims. Leslie is then killed by the bunny. The film then shows a final flashback revealing the origin of the killer. A boy named Leo, who was institutionalized for killing his foster mother, was diagnosed with multiple personalities. He was a deeply disturbed child who believed he was an immortal being. He eventually escaped the institution and began his killing spree, believing he had to take someone's heart to become immortal. The killer who was hit by the car and the killer at the rave were both copycats, but the original killer Leo eventually finished his plan. The film returns to the present with Detective Maxwell talking to her colleague. She is visibly upset about Drew's death, but her colleague seems unfazed. He tells her that he is reading a file on Leo, the original killer. He mentions that Leo was institutionalized for killing his foster mother by stabbing her with a butcher knife, and that he was diagnosed with multiple personalities. Maxwell is surprised to learn that Leo was a real person and that he was the original killer. She then learns that the father's body from the first crime scene was stolen from the morgue, and Leslie's heart was also taken, which leads her to the conclusion that the killer has finally found what he was looking for. The film ends with the killer, now revealed to be Leo, achieving his goal of becoming immortal. He explains that he killed Leslie and stole her heart to become immortal. The film then shows a final flashback revealing that the first 3 years were all planned out and the killer had a plan all along. He then teases a sequel, Serial Rabbit 3, and the film cuts to a series of behind-the-scenes clips revealing the making of the movie and the low-budget nature of the production. The film ends with a final shot of the killer still in the bunny suit, laughing maniacally as the credits roll. If you enjoy watching this video, then subscribe to Angel Recaps for the latest movies explanation.